This is What Kick Legend. We're going to show you a dirty boxing combo today. So welcome to Kick Legend. I have you at Life Size Yard put onto your fight here once again with Archie Luz, the Undisputed Martial Arts. Archie, of course, is a great boxer and athlete, but he also practices Kalis Ilustrisimo. And you know, that S really messes him up because he got the other S's later. No disrespect. And you know, and he has great dirty boxing, so I wanted to get him to show us something.
Sure. Just a real quick reason why it's called Kalis. Kalis is from another Filipino dialect, not Tagalog, but it means sword. So when it's translated, it's known as sword, the sword of Ilustrisimo.
Oh,
just
makes
so
sense.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were working on dirty boxing. The difference, okay, so Roy throws this across, I'll slip. Simple stuff. If you've seen some of the other videos, we use that to set up the liver shot. Sometimes you could even slip and throw across to the head or go to the body. Nice way to do things. Great, but one thing we want to do in a situation like this is we're talking about a bit more of a reality-based self-defense scenario where we're talking about punching without gloves on. So I throw a cross, and he throws his cross, I throw a cross and I miss and I say I hit his forehead. Or Roy Smart, he gets his guard up nice and high and I end up hitting that elbow. I've got a broken hand, right? So that takes that right hand out of my fight, my biggest weapon. So what we want to do here is the same concept of most of the Filipino martial arts. It's the concept of defanging the snake, or basically disarming our opponent. So in our situation here, the weapon will be that right hand. Okay, so again, we'll still utilize that same slip because the idea of the slip is it allows me to move offline. At the same time, allow me to turn my hips so I get a bit more power. So we're going to pass. And the objective here is I'm going to hit somewhere around the bicep, the belly of the muscle. It's, you know, for one reason and one reason only. It's just a bit of a shock, not a really big hit, but it just gets his attention there. Okay, so I go from here and I'll bounce right up. Okay, so the idea here is a double tap of sorts. Okay, so one hit leads to a reverse bolo punch. Okay, so this is what we would call in our system a number 4. I mean, or number 2 would either come across or coming downwards, depending on the height of your opponent. The objective here is to hit with your forearm, the ulnar bone that is, right on along the jawline, and letting the hand wrap right around. If I get a good enough hit, I might actually be able to wrap it around the base of the skull. In most cases, will result in a knockout. Okay, so from this position, 1, 2. Okay, from here, a lot of things can happen, especially if I've shocked them. I'll come in with a nice uppercut elbow, okay, and finish off with a little half clinch to a knee. Okay, so again, controlling the arm by moving it out of the way. This also allows me to prevent my opponent from trying to hit me with his left hand, mainly because this is engaged. Right? I get his attention by hitting the belly of the muscle, go for the head, go for the jawline and the back of the neck. Again, these aren't strikes that are designed to do anything else but incapacitate my opponent. I want to try to do this as quickly as I can. I'm not trying to last 12 rounds, okay? Or 3 rounds for that matter. I want to last 10 seconds. Okay, from this position here, I can easily follow up with the uppercut elbow, and in my situation here being the shorter fighter, then I'd have to get a little closer. Okay? At that point, very easy to clinch, a half clinch behind the head, and up to with my knee up to the head, or to the solar plexus. If I don't want to go that high, I can even go to the groin. Okay? So again, pass that arm, hit that bicep, extend out. I could either go right into the clinch, or I could finish with the elbow, finish with the clinch at that point as well. Okay?
That energy, by the way, when he does the hack to my bicep, it's not just pure sideways. A lot of us who do this, sometimes we get this kind of very sideways scissors motion, which is comfortable for our partner, right? But it's not nearly as disruptive as going forwards.
The idea with our system, Kalis Ilustrisimo, as we mentioned, it's the blade of Ilustrisimo. We are a bladed art, but the one thing we do is we use our bones as blades. So So it's the same way a Thai boxer with shins would use the shins as a sword. We use the ulnar bone as our blade. It's sharp, right? It's not like hitting with flesh, as you mentioned, the slap will get you that. And sometimes it will give you a little bit of a shock, but that little sharpness of the bone digging into the muscle, yeah.
But even like the sideways, like, you know, like the inside, outside, inside, reverse, it's not quite that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. In fact, if you were to see this with the sword in my hand, I'm just basically doing what we call a number one cut.
Yeah.
And in most cases, if I were defending against a number one angle with my sword, and if I had a dagger in this hand, I could use that to parry and come in. So we're doing both cutting and parrying simultaneously.
Yeah, I just find that has a nice disruptive feel to it, and it's counter to my forward intention, right? The sideways, I mean, it hurts, but for those of you who aren't able to quite get this to feel right, make sure it's...
Actually an excellent analysis, because you are coming in, I am coming through. Coming sideways will, it's a nice way to beat a forward attack, coming sideways, but it does not really quite capitalize on forward movement.
So that's a different feel.
Yeah.
Okay, and then now we'll do...
Okay, so again, the overhand.
Yeah.
So again, defanging the snake, this time we have a rounded punch. Okay, so this hook will come here. Obviously I can't do that. I can't pass it. I'm gonna have to stay on the inside, especially a big loopy punch. Again, a lot of punches that we see in bar fights, street fights, people that don't generally know how to punch will throw this big loopy right hand. What I'll do here is what we call in our system Australia. Okay, so instead of coming straight in or moving to my left, I'm gonna take a slight step to the right. Okay, at this position here, what I'll do is I'll block with my right hand, bringing it across, and I'll transfer to my left. In the process of doing that, I'm going to hit with my bolo punch again, the same way I would have done to the chin and to the back of the head. Okay, so like another double tap. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, so the idea here again is all going to come from the hip. I move offline and I hit right away. I have to hit right away. Reason for that, if I take too long here, guess what? I'm going to need a left hook. Right? So I'm going to take this real quick from that position from number 1 to 2 right away. So when we do the Australia, we get that initial block to set up this actual strike. So we've got to get this hand here to control. All right? Nice thing about it, from this position here, I could also finish with the elbow. So as you can see, if I finish with the elbow here, I could actually pull from right into my elbow. Okay? With my left hand. So 1, 2, 3. All right. From there, I can finish up with another knee to the head, knee to the body, or whatnot. All right.
You notice his right hand is coming up to protect his face and neck when he does that.
Right away, yeah.
Or his left hand. Yeah.
So from here, bam, and which one is it again? Sorry.
This one you're
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, you notice how he's bringing his left hand up to protect his face when he does that, in case I'm early.
Very crucial. So one of the things you want to do, just like a good boxer, one hand's punching, the other hand's defending, right? So right away here, always just turn it, make it a habit. I don't even think about it anymore at this point. It's ingrained. So from the first portion of this Australia, again, in this position, I've got my right shoulder facing you, squared up towards the direction of where the punch is coming in. I'm going to come right through. I'm going to change hands and hit. Okay, so a little bit of speed. All right. At this point here, if it so happens that I have some purchase here, I've got a good grip, then I can pull in. If not, I'll just use the arm itself to block. Okay. And in this position here, I've got a nice little crook here. It's going to meet up with his wrist, and there's no way you can really get around it. In fact, that would hurt him more. Okay? So from this position, 1, 2, okay? I can come in. If I don't get the pull, I'm going to just step in with the elbow. Okay? From that position, I can extend out. Nice thing to do here, a little bit of a shook, a little bit of a tug. I'll take a step to my left, pivot, throw him off balance, and set up that knee.
Let's take a look at that on this
Sure.
side.
Okay, so again, I step out, away from that punch. I come in here. In this situation, I might have a grip or don't have a grip on this on his punching hand. I'll just step in, champ, okay, with my elbow. Okay, Again, I could finish this off with a half clinch, but in this position I can do, really I don't have much power off my right knee, right? So what I'll have to do is take a little bit of step, okay, and I'm going to slide my right foot behind me, so off balance and boom. Get myself in a good position, get that right leg back so I can chamber it for a good knee.
So because we're about athleticizing your art here, Archie's a great example because he is athletic and he's fought in a sport context as well. So I'm always trying to think of ways to take this martial arty stuff and put it on a more athletic platform, right? To functionalize it, especially if you don't have all the sport, boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu behind you, and maybe you just do FMA as a hobby, and hopefully you never have to use it. I'm not really
That's the idea, yes.
you know, not a really big proponent in having that mentality per se, unless it's part of your lifestyle, like your job.
We're a bunch of Boy Scouts. We're ready at any time.
But to give some confidence, and quite frankly, in my opinion, the next level of fun and the next level of training in this is to randomize it a little bit and get it a little more athletic. So we have two responses. We have two options. We have straight punch and wide hook, right? And you notice we intentionally got to the same finish so that way we don't have to memorize a different technique for every entry, right? They'll all funnel to the same thing so that he can concentrate on recognizing the incoming line and doing something about it. So we're just going to do that a little bit to show you what that looks like. And we just kind of move around a little bit.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
I got it warm up properly. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you notice I'm just kind of feeding with one hand by my shoulder so he has something to hit against, right? And you notice that even at kind of a pretty slow speed, you know, he's getting the defense, but he is checking to see that my pad's really where it is before he starts hitting, right? And so what's difficult about this is increasing the speed of my feed while still keeping the hitting part safe.
That's an art in itself.
But we're going to try that because we're both really good.
And you want to try and make sure you hire somebody good like Roy.
Right? So yeah, I'll just kind of pick it up a little bit. Go. Yeah. So you don't always catch each of them 100%, right?
So here as well, if that cross comes, nothing wrong with going to the outside, okay? Obviously the hook is something you want to stay on the inside of. Cross, you can go to the outside, but you can also stay on the inside, okay?
Yeah, the important thing here is to just go, right? I mean, Archie wants to look good for the camera. I understand. But I'm also a proponent of, you know, if you're actually good, which Archie is, it doesn't matter, right? You should have a few failed reps,
sure,
or I'm not feeding him intensely enough to match his skill level. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that.
And, you know, we were talking about repetition, but sometimes if that hook does come and I don't catch it and have times you go to the outside, you can change it up. Right? I can still pass, but I can go for a different target. I go for the groin here. It sets up the same, pretty much the same end result.
Yeah, the important thing is to not just freeze and stop, right? And for those who are running a class, sometimes your students don't always like the technique you're showing. So it depends on, is the point of the class to teach the technique, in which case, yes, I do believe they should be doing what the class is about, or is it to develop attributes, in which case maybe they should be working on what comes most naturally to them. So I think you have to define the expectations about when a student is, let's say, allowed to do what makes sense to them and to rep out the stuff that you're working on in class that day, and to point out it's not a sign of disrespect to them. And really, even if they have to do something you aren't working on, better than learning to get hit just because you forgot the technique you were working on that day, and then get back to the technique you were working on the next rep.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, that's actually, I think, and then I've had my boxers say the same thing to me when they see us do free flow in Cali, where everything comes from either an unorthodox angle or it comes from a random pattern, right? So we're actually not even a pattern, it just comes randomly from different angles. They want to see pad work like that, which is very difficult to do. Because firstly, yeah, you really need to have a good pad holder. But at the same time, the pad holder's learning. It's a learning experience for both participants.
Yeah. So we're just gonna screw around a little bit, and so Archie's gonna try to do a few reps of what we're working on, and then just a few other freestyle reps, just so you get a visual on maybe what this training would look like. We're gonna close out before I run out of breath, though. So this is for King of Legend here with Archie Luz at Undisputed Martial Arts. Keep your chin down and elevate your striking. All right. Yeah, just do whatever. And I'll try to keep up with you. So you notice I'm still keeping it thematic, right? I'm still just feeding right hand for now, right, which is fine. And you notice he kind of caught one on a little bit on top of the head, but he just keeps going. That's the point. It's hard, right?
Yeah, very hard. Good thing is there's no telegraph. So you're throwing from here, just like a good fighter would. In most cases, the problem with most pad holders is they'll telegraph.
You know, I do that in my sparring, but not in my pad holder.
Wow.
because in my sparring, yeah, I'm always teaching, right?
I see.
Because I don't spar with guys typically who are better than me.
Yeah.
because typically they are going too hard for where I am at this stage of my life, right? So I'm always teaching, right? Always teaching. So I'm like, here comes the jab. Here comes the working with Archie Luz. How much telegraphing do I need to do here?
Well, it just shows you it's something that, even with my level of experience, it's something that I'm not accustomed to seeing. Because again, when it comes to the randomized stuff, which we do a lot in Cali, you don't really do that too much in boxing. You'll see a lot of set patterns, like even the fast hand, what we call it, Coach Diane and I call the fancy pad work.
Yeah.
Where it looks like the coach is doing a lot more. It's all preset, right?
Yeah.
And in most cases, those are overly exaggerated, so the striker can see it coming a mile away. In this situation, Roy is throwing that cross really well, or that overhead, that right pump. I can't even tell.
Yeah, so it's you know, and that's why I love kind of traveling around and organizing these training meetups to have experienced trainers work with each other, right? And then they can now feed at a level appropriate. Maybe, yeah.
This is definitely going to change my game.
Yeah, if you haven't if you haven't worked in a long time, if you're on this side all the time, and maybe you're getting a student to hold for you, you might get a good workout in, but you're not just holding that upper edge of your skill, right? And that's why training meetup, that's where it's at. All right, so thanks, Archie. Yeah, it's awesome as always.